What's everybody? What's up, everybody? My name is Ryan Thomas. I am the host of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, and today is June 5th, 2017, and I'm getting started with another show today. If you can hear that in the background, that is a really annoying fan that I have next to the studio room in my house. So, sorry about that sound if you can hear it. Probably not, but I can, and it's really annoying. But anyway, to say the least, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Just wrapping up my weekend in Philadelphia. Had a really good time. Part one of today's show, I talked about the aftermath of UFC 212. Max Holloway, the new UFC featherweight champion. What's next for him and much more. Also, want to talk about the team that I think right now is the best team in baseball, and that is the Houston Astros. Obviously, the record would state so, but I pose the question of, if the Houston Astros are this good now, can they keep this team together? Can they create a somewhat dynasty from now until, the next couple years from now? One would say yes, but I have serious concerns, because this is a small market team. It's a team that has had many of these pieces together for quite some time, but I'm not confident that this team can keep the nucleus, the Altuves, the Correas, the Keikels of the world together on one team for long. I posed that question to Dan Schalk. I want his take. I'm going to tag him in that episode and get his take on that. So, that being said, part three of today's show, I want to talk about the Buffalo Bills, a team that is near and dear to my heart, being that I am a Buffalo native, being that I'm from Western New York and preach one Buffalo on Facebook and all the Facebook groups I'm a part of, Twitter, everything. Always trying to keep everybody informed on the Buffalo Bills. And yesterday, I shared the news that I had heard, obviously, that Jeremy Maclin was cut on Friday, and my first thought was, why not? Why not Jeremy Maclin? And then the next day it was reported by the Buffalo Bills that they are, yes, in talks with the now free agent wide receiver Jeremy Maclin, the wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs and formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles, the former teammate of current Buffalo Bills running back LaShawn McCoy. So, could the Buffalo Bills bring him in? Will they bring him in? Should they bring him in? Yes. I'm hearing that Jeremy Maclin has actually touched down in Buffalo today for a visit with the team. Whether or not that leads to a contract, that remains to be seen, but I think that it will. I think that this team really wants Jeremy Maclin, and I think they're going to get him. If they don't, that would really stink, but I think that they have a good chance to get him, because Aaron Williams' cap hit is off the books now. The Bills have $4 million plus more than what they had a few days ago, going from $11 million to $15 million in cap space. So with the $15 million in cap space, that does create a little bit more room for the Bills to make another addition to their team, and that addition should be Jeremy Maclin. But I pose the question, will it really matter? You have Sammy Watkins, Jeremy Maclin, Zay Jones, LaShawn McCoy, Charles Clay, 5 receiving weapons on this team, and with reports that the Bills interviewed Gary Barnidge, the tight end formerly of the Browns, that could be 6. But will it really matter? And you all know why I'm saying that. You all know why. We have Tyrod Taylor as our starting quarterback. Obviously, last year, Tyrod took steps back for reasons that could be attributed to the wide receivers being hurt, Sammy Watkins being hurt, Robert Woods being hurt, Charles Clay being hurt. Virtually all the playmakers that he needed were hurt. And that could have contributed to his performance. But let's just say that if all these weapons stay healthy, and Tyrod does not look any better, then I can finally say to you guys that I was right. I have had reservations about Tyrod Taylor since day one. Not as a person, great guy, humble guy, charismatic guy, interesting human being, to say the least. I like him as a person. I don't hate the man. But I do have reservations as far as his ability to throw the football. He has shown from time to time capability of throwing the deep ball. He has not shown the capability of making every single throw that an NFL quarterback needs to make at this high of a level. We saw that versus the Oakland Raiders last season. We saw that versus the Miami Dolphins twice last year. So I have reservations that definitely proved my point in 2016. But obviously there is a new coaching staff at One Bills Drive, coaching staff that has worked with Tyrod Taylor before, and Rick Dennison, the offensive coordinator. So it could very well be said that this is the best chance that Tyrod has. But let's just say if all these players stay healthy, if they translate the offense to Tyrod more so than they did in 2016 and 2015, and he still looks as if he cannot make the NFL throws, which I think will be the case, can anyone finally admit that it is time for them to move on? They could bring in Jeremy Maclin. They can bring in Gary Barnidge. But if they don't have a quarterback to throw them the ball, does it really matter? You can continue to build this team up as much as possible, but if you have a quarterback that will not get the receivers the ball, then that is a problem. And people are saying to me, do you know how big of a signing this is going to be? It's only as big as Tyrod lets it. He's got to get him the ball. It's that simple. And I have high doubt as to whether he can do that. There's been statistics I've seen about Tyrod's numbers with Sammy Watkins in the lineup, without Sammy Watkins in the lineup. So obviously he needs the playmakers. He needs the playmakers in order to succeed. He's not a quarterback that makes the players around him better. He needs players around him to make him better. That is the case. And if he can't do that, if these players do not make him better, it is on him, not on these players. Because you can stack this team as much as possible, and he has shown that he cannot get players the ball. They have the 32 ranked passing attack. There's been countless years where Tom Brady has had wide receivers that were hurt. Countless years where Aaron Rodgers has had players that were hurt. Jordy Nelson got hurt, tore his knee in the preseason. His number one target, his go-to guy. Did it matter? No, it did not. Cam Newton went to a Super Bowl without his number one wide receiver, and Kelvin Benjamin for the entirety of the season. Had his MVP season. The elite of the elite at this level, at the NFL level, the elite quarterbacks adapt to circumstances that go against them. The elite rise above the circumstances that go against them. So if Tyrod Taylor is this franchise guy, and last year Sammy Watkins was hurt, the elite rise above those injuries, and he did not. So to say that Jeremy Maclin can put them over the top, yes, offensively, on paper, they got the weapons. They have to stay healthy. They have Watkins. They'd have Maclin. They'd have Zay Jones. They'd have Andre Holmes, who I think is flying under the radar. They have Charles Clay, who is their starting tight end. They'd have Gary Barnidge, hopefully, if they could bring him in. Let's just say they got Maclin and Barnidge. They'd have LaShawn McCoy. They would have a pass-blocking fullback that is much better than Jerome Felton and Patrick DeMarco. Another pass-blocking fullback in Mike Tolbert. So they're really trying to build up this offense. And if Tyrod has all these weapons around him, if they stay healthy, and he still can't connect with the receivers, then we know that it is his time to go. So it's almost a good thing that Tyrod Taylor has not shown this capability, but it's almost a good thing that the Buffalo Bills are deciding to stack up this offense so that way, if and when it doesn't work out, it's on Tyrod. It's not on the players that they've brought in. It's not on the coaches. because he's worked in this offense before. They are making things adaptable to Tyrod Taylor. Everything is being catered right now to Tyrod Taylor. And if Tyrod still can't put out maybe the even 25th best passing attack in the NFL, then he is not the guy. It's that simple. I'm very excited. I'm very optimistic that the Bills are trying to add on to this team. They're being aggressive. They're looking at all avenues to add on to this team. Brandon Beane and company are a far cry from the previous front office regimes in my eyes. Does that mean that they will lead the Bills to the playoffs? No, but in terms of what they are doing and how they have appeared to be aggressive with Beane and McDermott working together, it looks like that this is a move that is going to come to fruition, which is awesome. I think that's great. But it's another move that could very well show the weaknesses of Tyrod Taylor. Dan Shaw, founder and editor of MyFantasySportsTalk.com, put up a status that I thought was funny. I have to admit, Tyrod Taylor is joining the recruiting efforts for Jeremy Maclin. Will do more harm than good. His pitch, quote, I may average less than 200 yards passing a game, but you can get 30 of those yards every week. I mean, really, let's look at the game-by-game breakdown of Tyrod Taylor in the 2016 NFL season. I'm going to try to look this up before I run out of time here. Let's try to look this up. So, game logs at NFL.com. So, Tyrod, obviously it's well known, and I know this as well as anybody, that Tyrod is not a 300-yard passing quarterback. He's only done so once in his entire career. Tyrod is a scrambler. He's a guy that makes things happen. He's a guy that extends plays. He's a guy that avoids the rush. He's a guy that runs for first downs. Well known. I get it. But Baltimore, they lose the game 13-7. Tyrod 15 for 22, 111 yards, and he was sacked twice. Rushing the ball, for those that say, well, he ran the ball. No, he did not. He had 5 carries for 11 yards. They lost 13-7. Baltimore was one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year. And it was week 1 of the season. Week 2, 31-37 loss to the New York Jets. Tyrod had 2 70-yard-plus passes that were completed. So 2 long balls. If those were drops, you take off 140 yards of that 297 that he recorded, and voila, you got 157 yards, 16 for 28, and 1 touchdown and 1 pick rather than 3 touchdowns and a pick. I'm not going to really nitpick that game, but really you have to when the majority of his statistics were off of 2 completions. Week 3 versus the Arizona Cardinals, 15 for 25, 119. Week 5 versus the Los Angeles Rams, 124 yards. Week 11, 166. Week 12, 166. Week 15, 166. Or 174, I'm sorry. His last week, his best game was against Miami. He did end the season on a good note, and I will give him the credit that the Seattle game was probably the best game that he played in his Buffalo Bills career. I did not expect him to play that well, but 2 starts, 2 quality starts, both games that they actually lost. And I meant to talk about I mentioned twice against Miami. He had 1 bad game against Miami where they let the thing unravel. The second game he did well. I was referring to the Miami game, the Oakland game, and the Pittsburgh game. That was the game that I was referring to. So 3 games that they desperately needed, and he could not pass them over the top. They're a running team, but eventually when they're going toe-to-toe with these quarterbacks that they have on the docket for the 2017 season, they need them to play better. And I just don't know if Jeremy Maclin will make that much of a difference given Tyrod Taylor's passing deficiencies. Take care, everybody.